There's
Is this really going to be two against one? You're literally both talking at me at the same time.
I'm not
All of
talking.
you speak at one time. I can't respond to two of you.
I can have my own opinion on the legal justification for removing this person. Rubio has legal
Okay, but the
justification.
government disagrees with you that you're here to defend.
You're saying no. They
I
don't.
agree. He does have legal
What
justification.
you're saying,
unless the
what you're
Supreme Court
saying is
shoots it
something
down.
different, which is that there's. What
I'm
you're
saying it's
saying is that there's
unconstitutional.
no law
I'm saying that's
justifying any of
unconstitutional.
this.
Let me say it slowly then. Rubio has the power to remove someone he believes is against US foreign policy.
Yes.
That is not someone who's broken the law. That just gives him immigration power. Nobody is suggesting Mahmoud Khalil has broken the law. He hasn't been charged with breaking any law.
Fine. I understand.
He was disappeared to
I
Louisiana.
understand what you're saying.
You say you want to demonize and criminalize
quiet
them.
for a second. So Piers brought up that they were
this whole thing is about free speech.
7th. I would actually agree.
I'm not going to be quiet.
You can celebrate October 7th.
I'm not a green card holder, Dan. You can't disappear me as well.
Will you be quiet?
What's going on, everybody? Buckle up, because this isn't your typical debate. Mehdi Hasan is livid after watching someone get pushed out, apparently for quote-unquote supporting terror, and he's calling out the whole rigged system. He's tearing into Dan Crenshaw's weak-ass excuses and slamming Piers for tossing out questions that lack any real evidence. This isn't just about free speech. It's a raw showdown exposing how green cards, deportations, and terror talks are used to shut down dissent. If you're sick of the sanitized political crap and ready for some no-holds-barred truth, this explosive battle is exactly what you need to see. And just a quick FYI, they will be talking over each other, and if you do decide to leave, if I could just ask you to like and share this video. Let's jump in.
Let me ask Mehdi a question then. Should people who are in the United States...
let's poll the American people. Okay, that's how we protect civil liberties, do we, Dan? We poll the American people.
Mehdi, let me ask you a question.
Be curious what they think.
Should somebody who's in America on a green card be allowed to support a terror organization? Because according to all the paperwork you fill in when you apply for a green card, if you do support one, you would not be given a green card. Hamas are a prescribed terror group in the United States. He has supported Hamas. Therefore, if the United States government if they wanted to revoke his green card, they are perfectly within their rights to do so, as Dan has articulated.
Not true. Piers, you don't... No, Dan has not articulated that at all. No law has been cited that says you can revoke his green card because of his speech. Piers, you don't know what you're talking about. You can't revoke a green card because you don't like someone's speech.
If you support a terror group,
where's your evidence of that,
you would not get a green card.
Where's your evidence of that, Piers?
It's US
Piers,
Code
you can't just say stuff. Where's your evidence for that? Is this really going to be two against one? You're literally both talking at me at the same time.
I'm not talking.
All of you speak at one time. I can't respond to two of you. No, Piers asked me a question. No, Piers asked me a question, Dan. No, Dan, Piers asked me a question. I'm responding to Piers. So if you can hold your point. Piers asked me about withdrawing a green card. I'm telling you, Piers, there is no evidence he supports Hamas. If there was, they would have arrested him for it. They didn't charge him with supporting Hamas.
The organisation that he fronts, actually described October the 7th as a victory. They described October the 7th as a victory.
That's a speech. Piers. And that's free speech in this country. Maybe you live in the UK, you don't know about the First Amendment. In this country, it's offensive.
Is it supporting Hamas?
It's not a crime. Is it? If you say October the 7th is a victory, and I have not seen a quote from...
There's a reason I read the quote that I read, because it's an
Piers, it's been 4 days.
It's been 4 days.
And it's not from him. Nice try, Dan, but the quote wasn't from him. There's 4 days. The US government and Fox News have had 4 days, to produce all sorts of stuff, video evidence, photographic evidence, quote. They've got nothing, which is why they're not charging him with a crime.
Well, let's see.
And they're saying he's aligned with Hamas.
Piers,
can I finish the sentence? They're saying he's aligned with Hamas. You can't just say people are...
You don't do that.
Should I say, Piers, Piers, you're aligned with Hamas. Should we just throw around accusations? I mean,
I don't front an organisation that made a statement.
That's the last time I checked what America says.
No, just to be clear, I don't front an organisation.
Unfortunately, Piers, there's free
Sorry,
speech.
just to finish my point, you asked me a question.
I thought this show was called Uncensored.
It is. You have to let me respond to your questions. If you ask me a question, or Dan, let us respond. Don't just then talk over us. It's quite straightforward. And I would say that I do not front an organisation which has put out statements describing October the 7th as a victory. If you do, you are a supporter of Hamas.
Which organisation
is that? If you support Hamas, you are supporting a terrorist organisation, and as such, you would be in breach.
Which organisation put that statement out, Piers?
The student group that he
claims. Which organisation
put that statement out? The student group that he fronts, whatever they're called. Group? What's it called?
Which student group?
Whatever the CUAD.
You can't just make wild accusation without evidence.
It's not.
The CUAD did not call October the 7th a victory, as far as I'm aware.
It's in their statement.
The CUAD has not called The CUAD has not called October the 7th a victory.
Yes, they have.
It's
You have
called
to show me that
Columbia
quote. I've not
University
seen that quote. I don't
Apartheid
believe- No, I don't think they have.
That's what it's called.
They have, and I will show you.
That's what they campaign for.
And
they
another
have,
quote from them.
I actually know more
Again,
about this group than you do because they have Jewish members who have written for Zateo, and they do support divestment.
wonderful for you.
They want to divest from the genocide that you
Okay,
support
but
and you
here's the
fund.
thing.
You
When
fund the
you
genocide
say-
in
when you
Gaza.
say-
They want to divest from
when
it.
you say
You want
some-
to demonize and
Just be
criminalize
quiet
them.
for a second. So Piers brought up that they were
this whole thing is
celebrated
about free
October
speech.
7th. I would actually agree.
I'm not
that
going to be
October 7th.
quiet.
You can celebrate October 7th.
I'm not
I
a
think
green
it's
card holder,
disgusting.
Dan. You
But
can't disappear me as well.
Will you be quiet? So I would agree that you can celebrate October 7th. I think you're
No, I'm
disgusting
not-
for it, but no, you can't be arrested.
You want everyone
but
to
when
be
you
quiet.
say
You want
something
silence
like
them.
"We are Westerners fighting for the eradication of Western civilization," you are crossing the line.
That is not a
from
crime. That's free
speech into
speech.
Incitement of
No,
you are
Dad,
confused
that's free
about
speech.
the law.
Are you
That is
kidding me?
Incitement of violence.
You've lost your mind if you think
eradication of our civilization is a violent
Yes.
call.
Is a crime?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yes. Call
it's
for
not.
violence is indeed a crime.
I don't agree with it, but
yes, it is.
free speech in this country
cannot
is a very
incite
broad definition. You
incitement of
cannot arrest
violence
people
is
for
an actual
speech crimes. And by the
law-breaking
way,
exercise.
there's no incitement of coming from the Republican Party, which
Calling
sends a
for
mob
the
to the Capitol
destruction
to
of the
attack people like you,
civilization?
and all those
Kind
people
of
were pardoned.
violence.
Dan,
What does
Dan,
destruction mean?
Spare
What
me
does
your
destruction
faux
mean?
morality. Your party pardoned 1,500 domestic terrorists.
My party
Have you
didn't
condemned
pardon
that?
anyone.
I haven't heard you condemn Donald
My
Trump.
party didn't pardon
Yes,
anyone.
they did. They supported Donald Trump.
They were. What are you even
Okay,
talking
will you
about?
condemn
Are
it
you talking
now?
about the
Will you,
January 6th
will you condemn
protesters?
Donald Trump? Yes. Will
are
you
you talking
condemn?
about?
Will you condemn Donald Trump pardoning violent
What?
terrorists?
What are you?
I tell you what, why don't we move? Why don't we?
Will you
Okay,
condemn
time out.
Donald
Time
Trump?
out. We've run out of time.
No.
We've run out of
Dan,
time.
will you condemn?
We've run out of time.
Will you condemn?
We've run out of time. Why don't we try and find?
the
Why don't we
pardoning of
try and
terrorists?
end on a point of agreement?
Will you condemn?
Why don't we
the
try
pardoning
and
of
end
terrorists?
with
Dan won't
something?
do it.
Why don't we
Dan
try and
won't condemn
end?
the January
Why
6th
don't we try and
protesters.
end where you both
Everyone
agree
can hear
about
it.
something, right? Which is
They actually did
No,
violence, unlike Mahmoud Khalil, who did no violence.
I'm bringing it to an end, but I want to try and end on a point you may both agree about, which is Dan's ongoing spat with Tucker Carlson. Now, this began when there was you were caught off. You thought you were off camera, still on mic, saying he was the worst person. We've talked a lot on Twitter. If I ever meet him, I'm going to effing kill him. You then said, I think anyone seriously watching and being honest with themselves knows that was hyperbole. You said in private, and no, Tucker, nothing to worry about. I've absolutely no desire to harm him. And then Tucker went on a podcast with commentator Chris Josephs on his podcast, and he said this about you, Dan.
Tell us about my all-time favorite member of Congress, Dan Crenshaw.
Yeah. So he's a tough one. He's a hothead on Twitter now.
He's out of control.
Yeah, I don't understand why he's taken this stance a little bit.
Because I
He
think
used
his
to be-
personal life is out of control.
Yeah, because he used to be like a right-wing darling. Like he was, with the Navy SEALs, I think early on.
Not with me. I always thought he was a freak and a warmonger.
Really, yeah.
Weirdo, yeah. He's a freak and a warmonger weirdo, but yeah.
He's showing it now.
Dan, your response to being a freak, a warmonger, and a weirdo.
Yeah, well, this is typical for Tucker. Tucker has no actual substance, right? He's been attacking me since 2022, when he became obsessed with me. I live rent-free in that little mongrel's head. And people ask me all the time, like, why does he hate you? And I'm like, the fact that you can't answer that question is indicative of the fact that he has no actual substance. See, I can tell you why Mehdi disagrees with me. I can tell you why Mehdi doesn't like me. At least he has, I disagree with them all, but at least he has things that he disagrees with me on. Tucker never actually says anything. It's just insults. He'll use my war wound to insult me. He's a weird, bad guy. I mean, people should not be tricked by his supposed stance against the DC insider elites, right? Because he literally is that. I mean, what's on the people should know. What's on the Hunter Biden laptops? What's funny? Emails from Tucker Carlson to Hunter Biden, asking Hunter Biden for help to get Tucker's son into Georgetown. Tucker's a silver spoon-fed trust fund baby. Went to boarding school guy. It's just the epitome of the DC elites who pretends to fight against it in order to corner a market in the media. He's begged us to go on his show since that time. We said, look, how about a moderated debate? And he said, oh no, we're not going to do that. He's not. I don't think he's a very serious person. I think he used to be. Don't see that anymore, right? It's like I'm out of control on Twitter because every once in a while I respond harshly to lies told about me. Yeah, I just don't take it lying down. Yeah, that's me. No, I apologize to no one for it.
Well, the incredible thing about what you've just been saying is I saw Mehdi repeatedly nodding in agreement. So we seem to have reached a point of agreement, Mehdi.
I mean, I'll say two things very quickly. One is we heard Dan read out a quote from the CUAD, which I don't think is incitement to violence. And then I heard Piers read out a quote from Dan that sounded pretty violent, even though he says he was joking. But on Tucker Carlson, I can't disagree with Dan's assessment. One of the things that really drives me up the wall is this, and I know you had a very chummy sit down with him in Saudi Arabia, but he is the fake anti-establishment persona really does great with me.
Well, I like Tucker, and I enjoyed my ding-dong with him over in Saudi. It wasn't by any means a chummy sit-down. If you've watched particularly the one that he aired on his channel, he came after me very strongly about Ukraine, and I gave it back with bells on.
All right, here's the bottom line. Mehdi walked into this debate with facts, fire, and zero patience for nonsense. And Dan Crenshaw, well, he got exposed. First off, Dan came in swinging with that classic free speech for me, but not for the hypocrisy, acting like he's got some great defender of American values while pushing for a guy to be deported over speech. Newsflash, Dan, supporting Palestine, even if it pisses you off or your political circle, isn't the same as supporting terrorism. Second, his whole argument crumbled the moment Mehdi demanded actual evidence. Dan kept tossing around accusations like candy on Halloween, but couldn't back up a single damn claim with real proof. And let's not forget Piers, who, as usual, played the role of clueless referee, throwing loaded questions and then acting shocked when Mehdi shut them down and asking for real proof. If you're tired of watching politicians and pundits twist free speech into a one-sided weapon, now's the time to speak up. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe. Because if we don't call out this double standard now, who will? Catch you guys in the comments. Bye for now.